Good evening, everyone. Call the full authority meeting to order. Board members, staff, guests, and members of the public are reminded that the full authority board meeting is being recorded and will be posted to the authority's website along with the official written minutes. As such, comments and opinions expressed may be published, and any comments expressed by individual board members, guests, and the general public are their own and do not represent the opinions or comments of the full authority and or the board of directors. The recorded video of the full authority meeting is not considered the official record of the meeting. The official record of the full authority meeting shall consist solely of the minutes approved by the full authority. With that, we'll jump right in. Any declarations of pecuniary interest from members? Seeing none. We have no delegations this evening, so our next matter would be our minutes from our August 17th full authority meeting. Can I get a mover and seconder for the minutes, please? We've got Ralph and Max. Questions or comments on the minutes? Seeing none on the motion, all in favor? And that's carried unanimously. All right, next item, matters arising. So we have our project tracking report, which was distributed in advance. And as we know, lots happening for the last little while. It's been a busy month. And I'm not sure if there's anything you want to highlight, Elizabeth, or if anyone has any questions.
Madam Chair, just together with project tracking, I don't really have anything to add.
And the media, we can kind of
and
combine
the media,
those.
we can kind of combine the two. I just wanted to play a short video for
Oh,
you.
yes.
The staff found a snapping turtle's nest, and we're actually saw the day that the eggs were laid. And so we waited for 90 days, and then this was the result. So this is Louise's first promotional video.
I saw the pictures as they were posted. Joe, you posted some on social media and everything, and amazing. It's just great. And it's great that Louisa was able to put this little video together too. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it was a pretty exciting day for the staff to see the babies arrive. And the only other thing I'll mention is that that was posted on social media, I think Facebook and the YouTube channel, but on Facebook it's received almost 7,000 views just in a short time span, and it's been up for about a week, and likes and shares are still coming in, so it's garnered a lot of attraction. And so it's just the power of that social media right now, right?
It's pretty good. And the nest was up by the shop, was it?
Yes, it's up by the shop, and the turtles were actually released in the pond just down at the bottom of the hill here.
So drive carefully next spring, folks, on Highbury, because these 40 turtles, yeah, they're living down there, so we're going to be careful. Right? Great. Were there any questions, Bill?
It's just a quick one on the maybe for either Jeff or Joe. Before and after for the Craig Mighties, how big a patch was that? Like a half an acre, quarter acre, bigger?
The patch that you could just see in the background there.
Yeah, it looks like
maybe a quarter of an acre. But the whole patch in its entirety was probably about 1.5 acres to 2 acres.
Wow.
It turned out to be significantly larger than I anticipated. So.
Great work.
Any further questions on either the project tracking or on the media? If not, can we get a motion to receive for information? Moved by Dave, seconded by Marcel. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Next up, watershed conditions report that was sent out by Jennifer, and it's an information report there. We know it's been a little dry in our area, a little bit. Might be an understatement.
And yet the plowing matches rain.
I know, right? They had to close it down today because of that. So, and definitely some interesting. I mean, she's got the samples of fish at the bottom there too that they found with hydrofish, and that's pretty cool too. So those were all found in local drains, so that's interesting. So, questions, comments on that one? Can we get a motion to receive? Ian and Ralph, all in favor? Carried unanimously. All right. Following up from our last meeting, the Ontario Archaeological Research at Lake Whitaker. Elizabeth?
Madam Chair, this was put out in the advance report. I think we had an opportunity to speak with James and Sherry last month. This is just following up that staff support moving ahead with this. The first step obviously is just to assess the site and basically delineate where it is. And then there will be future reports coming back to the board after that first step is taken. So this is just basically giving us permission to start that work with Jim and Sherry.
And that there is no cost to the board.
That's right.
That's always nice too. When we get projects like this, I think it's very interesting what they're going to be undertaking. It'd be interesting to see the results for sure. The best part is it doesn't cost us anything other than some staff time to work with them, so that's great. So we do have a recommendation there in the report that the London chapter of the Ontario Archaeological Society, I have problems pronouncing the word council the other night, so it seems to be ongoing. Under the leadership of Jim Karen, PhD, and Sherry Krause, MA, undertake licensed archaeological research to define the limits of the messenger site at Lake Whitaker, and further, a report on findings of the site assessment and a refined work plan be brought back to the board for consideration. You can move that, Bill? Thank you. We have a seconder? Dave? Questions or comments from the board members on this? Seeing none, on the motion, all in favor? And that is carried unanimously. Campground update.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can take this one. Typically, every year around this time, staff would bring for your consideration our seasonal camping application form for next year's camping season, as well as our recommended fees. This is a year where we have lots of things coming in that are increasing our operation fees and our staffing fees. So staff just felt we needed more time to further evaluate and assess what that impact is to ensure that we're providing competitive rates and covering our expenses. So we have notified all the seasonal campers in the attached memo that was in the advanced packages. I think their biggest concern from the camper side is typically that $200 reservation deposit is non-refundable. We just want to make sure that staff, that the board's aware that it'd be in our intent this year that if someone decides to cancel the reservation as a result of the amended fees, that it'd be our intention to refund that deposit and resolve some of those concerns. When we reached out to a few other CAs, they're going through the same process reviews. Most of them indicated they don't anticipate fees being established until November. So it is a common trend around with all the CAs in setting the fees, and something that we may look towards in future years is giving a little more time to set our fees. Because typically when we compare them to other campgrounds, we're usually a year behind because we haven't considered their increases for next year. So just kind of changing the process a bit with a little more time, and we'll obviously put in some processes and procedures to address that further delay in getting applications out. So tonight we're just asking the board to receive this as information with the acknowledgement that it would be staff's intention to refund that deposit this year if required.
The electrical, do you have any update on that and the the meter?
Yeah, so that was approved and that'll be implemented in Dealwood next year. Okay. So that'll all be included when we bring the seasonal application form back. Due to some of the scheduling, we didn't get any of the meters installed prior to the camping season, so it's lined up for the month of October. We'll be doing all the
Perfect.
installs and running tests and that type of stuff. So we'll have a further update in the next coming meetings.
That's great. Questions or comments from the board? Dave?
Just adding, I'm glad to see that in the report that it's the intention that we can get the $200 back. I did have one camper approach me, a local resident that was concerned about that, and I assured him that that wasn't the case, that we were not going to hang on to that, that they could get that back if for some reason the fees increase past the point that he's willing to pay. So I take it you give him a receipt for the 200 and tell him at that time.
Yeah,
That's good.
The memo did go out, so some of the discussions we've had at this point is that we would just write it on the receipt, that it would be a refundable deposit to help satisfy their concerns with that.
That's great. Anything further? Do we get a mover and seconder to receive that for information? Max? Ralph? If there's no further discussion on the motion, all in favor? And that's carried unanimously. Next up, we've got correspondence, and we had the letter that we asked to send out to the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change at our last meeting. I don't know if we have anything else. That's it. That's our only piece of correspondence.
We usually
Motion to receive. Ian and Marcel. All in favor? And that's carried unanimously as well. All right, we're up to our statements from August. I don't know if there's a lot out of the norm. It's nice to see the revenues for the campsites up, knowing that there may be some final adjustments. We've got another month of camping still to account for in there, but I didn't see anything alarming that jumped out. I don't know if anyone else had any questions on any of the accounts. Things look good. All right, can we get a mover and seconder on the statements then? Bill and Stephen. All in favor? Carried unanimously. New business. Work plan for the budget 2018-2019 and our departments that we're looking at this evening. Elizabeth.
So this is going to be a standing item on the agenda moving forward as we work through the budget planning for 2018 and 2019. This evening we have reports from Jeff Lawrence for Forest and Lands Management, Departments 113 and 116, and Betsy's here as well for the Stewardship Department. I'm going to let them give you kind of the overview of what is offered in the status quo budget, and then we can talk about some of the requirements moving forward for 2018 and 2019. So I'll start with Jeff.
All yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks for the opportunity to present a quick presentation and summary of the forestry activities over the past year. 2017 tree planting program, planted 50,000 tree and shrub seedlings, comprised of over 20 species of shrubs and trees planted throughout the watershed. Approximately 30% of those trees were planted by landowners themselves, and authority staff and our tree planting crew accounted for the other 70%. Of note, we had an OPG contract that ran from 2015 to 2017 to plant 60,000 trees annually in conjunction with Upper Thames River Conservation Authority. That contract ended as of 2017. Another program that really seems to be taking off is the Green in Communities program. It's a program where we offer larger tree and shrub seedlings still in smaller quantities for landowners that have smaller acreages or smaller areas to plant, where they need to order a minimum of 20 seedlings in multiples of 10. Just as a reminder or refresher, this program started in 2012 as Green in Central Elgin. In 2014 was expanded to include St. Thomas and Malahide. In 2015, Southwold got on board as well. To date, almost 11,000 trees have been sold through this program, and I think that's doubled alone in the last 2 years. KCCA staff administers the program. We secure the stock, take orders, provide technical assistance to landowners, pick the orders, host pre-pickup days, things like that. And the cost to each municipality that participates is $750. Cost to the landowner are just straight up tree recovery costs. Another program that we've done since 2014 in conjunction with the municipality of Central Elgin is planting 200 large stock trees along roads of their choice. And for the most part, it's been roads that they've done road reconstruction work on where they've needed to remove trees, and they just wanted to put trees back in along the municipal road allowance. For the past couple of years, we've also done basically living snow fence tree planting for the Ministry of Transportation Ontario. It started on Highway 3, and in the past couple of years we've planted over 1,000 trees each year on the north side of Highway 401 west of Colonel Pollitt Road. So I anticipate that program will go again next year. So. Outreach and education, we attended the London Farm Show, put on a booth in conjunction with the other local conservation authorities. Hosted a number of community planting events with St. Thomas, Railway City, Rotary Club, Boy Scouts, school groups, and this weekend we'll be doing a TD Tree Days tree plant just west of the city on the closed railway allowance. So, and a number of presentations to local community groups as well. So. 2017 season, I don't know if you remember it, but this past spring, constant rain led to extremely wet conditions throughout our tree planting window of May. A lot of cases it impacted access to some of the properties we planted, created challenging and impaired many of our planting conditions, and the biggest issue that I've noted is just the challenges it created for herbicide applications. In a number of cases it just made it impossible to go in and spray because it seemed to be raining nonstop, or in a couple cases it really reduced the effectiveness of some of the herbicides. So, and this summer, kind of the exact opposite of the spring, very dry. Because of kind of the extreme changes in conditions, survival rates really range from 75% to 95%. So usually we'd like it a little more consistent than that. But, and just some pictures of some historical sites that seem to be doing really well. And unfortunately, these three sites that I've chosen to show are very easily seen from the road. This one's just down the road at Forest City Castings. 2013 was shortly after we planted that site, and this is how it looks in 2017. So some of those trees have put on some substantial growth in a few years. Another site just up the road on Highbury, we planted in 2014, and some of the maples in particular on that site this year are very impressive. So, of course, if I could take a really good photo, it'd do a little more justice. But. Another site, this one was actually planted before I started, but it's quite an obvious site at the corner of Ron McNeil Line and Wellington. It was planted in 2010, and I just went and took that picture earlier this week. But in 2017, of note, this honey locust, again, my ability to take pictures is kind of weak, but that tree is approaching 20 feet tall in 7 or 8 years of growth, so it's doing quite well.
I can't believe that was 7 years ago we did that.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow.
So this is another thing the department has started working on this year. A summer student, Chris, helped me tackle some of the established Phragmites patch out at Lake Whitaker. The idea here is just to basically cut down the larger stuff and create access. I wish I thought to include it, but I was hoping to include a picture of where that Phragmites regrowth is at now. The regrowth is roughly mid-thigh high, which is exactly what I was hoping for, because that early October, I hope to go in with Vision Max, an approved product that we can spray right up to the water's edge and hit it with it's a glyphosate product, kill it back, go in and take all that dead debris sometime after that and do a burn. And then after that, it'll just be a matter of time in hitting it with Vision Max as necessary to keep it under control. So, like I mentioned, it's such a difficult thing to assess the area beforehand because it's so difficult to access. So it did catch me by a little bit of surprise how big the area actually was, but Chris and I managed to get through it with a little bit of help from some other summer students. So, it's anticipated that next year I still have to obtain a few other quotes and get some other ideas how to do it. But we may be looking at about $5,000 per year in 2018 and 2019 for hiring somebody to come in and handle Dalewood Reservoir and get that Phragmites infestation under control. And just part of my duties as the Forest and Soils Conservation Supervisor is to enforce the tree commissioner duties in the Allen County Woodlands Conservation Bylaw of the county. As part of that, I review harvest and clearing applications, undertake site visits, and undertake woodlands inspections, and assist landowners with complying with the bylaw. And another part of duties for the county are the weed inspector duties for the county. I respond to weed-related complaints and enforcement as required. And that's for the Weed Control Act. They're not generally property standards inquiries that I deal with. But I also assist partner municipalities with weed identification and some control advice. And this past spring, I went in front of all their outdoor staff and just did a presentation on many of the noxious weeds that also present a risk to physical health, like giant hogweed and poison ivy and that type of thing. So that went over really well. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the other municipalities may like undertake that in the future. So, looking ahead, because of the end of the OPG contract, there's potential that we'll have to draw down reserve in 2018 to maintain base programming and tree planting that we've done in the past. We'll have to work to secure future contracts, and hopefully OPG will come out with one in a timely fashion. Look for support for summer staff to support land management activities. Another summer staff would be great to help continue with that Phragmites control, do some woodlot management, maybe some other invasive species type of control. And just long-term capital. We have the cooler at the back that we use for storing seedlings. With the expansion of the program, it would be nice to have a little bit more room and possibly expand that cooler to accommodate, so we wouldn't have to rent a refrigerator truck every year we've been doing for the past number of years.
Any questions?
I noticed there's a lot of Phragmites that have had herbicide put on them in the London area. Have you been responsible for that, Jeff?
I haven't been responsible for that, no.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a hot topic for most municipalities right now, and a lot of municipalities are undertaking works of that nature. So.
Okay.
Further questions, comments?
Madam Chair, I just add to Ralph's comment that the City of St. Thomas is undertaking their a big project on Phragmites, and some of the discussions that we've had at the staff level, it doesn't really make sense for other municipalities to be taking that on. When we're not looking internally at our own properties, we need to have a coordinated effort, and that's the theory behind that pilot project up at Lake Whitaker. It's the headwaters, and if we don't get it controlled up there, the seed source just kind of flows down through the watershed. So the caveat of that, and what you saw, I think, in Jeff's presentation is really what we can do with our core staff that's supported by that 2018-2019 budget and staff salary jobbers. But just to kind of toot Betsy and Jeff's horn, they really have expanded and worked a lot to find different means to bring some revenue into that program and expand it. They do a lot of work, just the two of them. And it seems very simple, but having that extra support staff during the summer, if we can find the money in the 2018 and 2019 budget and beyond that, to have that support staff, that gives them the ability to look at some of those above and beyond projects like the Phragmites control and some of the woodlot management stuff that we're going to be bringing to you over the next couple of months too. So there's only so much we can do with the staff that we have. We have to look at backfilling some of our busiest times of year in the summer, bringing the summer students on to help us get some of the extra stuff done.
And without the Phragmites control, those 40 snapping turtles that have been placed, they wouldn't survive. Otherwise, they get choked out and they can't even get to the water. So it would counteract the good things that we're doing if we weren't able to do that. Marcel?
To you, Madam Chair. To you, Jeff. I think we spoke about control of Phragmites last fall, and there was nothing at that point, or maybe it was at the annual meeting, but some time ago, there was nothing to control it. When did this product become available?
Oh, sorry.
There's the over water that there isn't anything approved yet, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, thank you. There's nothing approved in Canada for spraying Phragmites over water. Vision Max has recently received approval, spray right up to water's edge, but still not over water. I think that's still in the works, and I know they had that product that they sprayed down Long Point and in Rondo, but that hasn't been approved for every use yet. So.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All right, got Betsy up next on stewardship.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I'll just, like Jeff did, sort of highlight what sort of standard programming for the stewardship department. As you all are aware, the Kettle Creek Clean Water Initiative was established in 2012, and that's a pot of funding that's available for Kettle Creek watershed landowners to undertake BMP projects on their property. And that's solely funded through the stewardship reserve that we have. So we basically can pull up to $12,000 annually for approved projects by the board to support it. And so since 2012, 22 projects have been funded to date through that. It's been a great boost to get things rolling, because as soon as you have one small chunk of funding for a project, it's really easy to leverage others. So that was a huge component of just sort of getting things rolling in the stewardship department. Prior to 2012, we really didn't have anything like that. If a landowner came to us, we would have to go look at grants to fund it. So to have that starting point is really great. The Elgin Clean Water Program was also initiated in 2012 by the 4 Elgin Conservation Authorities. There was nothing county-wide similar to what they have in other municipalities. And that program has been extremely successful to date. We've done over 100 projects, providing over $300,000 in grants. And the total project costs alone of those projects are over $1 million. So that program provides 50% funding up to $4,000. And the key point here is that the County of Elgin has now supported the program for the last couple of years, but just within the last year has basically put it in as a line item in their budget. So that's huge for the program. Before we relied on sort of one-time grants. So this gives us security where we can use that funding and leverage other dollars. This year we leveraged the county's funding. We received $35,000 as well from the Greenland Community Trust Fund and $40,000 from OMAFRA. So that $40,000 was a huge bonus for the program. Wetlands seem to be the project that everyone wants to do right now. So in preparation for this year's watershed report card update that'll be coming out in the new year, it was interesting to look back over the next 5 years, or the last 5 years, just how much work have we done within our watershed alone. So 14 wetlands have been created in the Kettle Creek watershed since 2013. And a lot of that is because of those 2 funding programs I just noted. So it makes it really easy for landowners that have a spot on their property looking to do something. When you can provide them with that incentive to get rolling, then they're on board. A large role of what we do in stewardship is getting out in the community, raising awareness about stewardship and the programs that we offer. So we're always looking to be included on tours. This summer we are on the Alice Elgin tour and the Elgin Soil and Crop tour, showcasing some of the projects that we've done. We host workshops for landowners. This year we hosted 2 erosion control workshops, one for farmers, one for contractors. We attend local events, like we were just at the Elgin plowing match last weekend. And Elgin Clean Water got a Twitter account to jump into the social media craze. So we're always just trying to get the word out and spread the good news of what's happening in this area. Source water protection, we've been working with the municipalities within the Kettle Creek source protection area. And primarily we've been helping with outreach and education efforts that are required under the plan. So over the last year, been really busy creating fact sheets about both the Belmont Wellhead Protection Area and the Port Stanley Intake Protection Zone, doing in-class programs related to source protection. We did mail out some door-to-door to every landowner within both those areas, and multiple presentations to municipal councils, fire stations, the Coast Guard, and local community groups. And lastly, the Carolinian Forest Festival, Kettle has been coordinating that festival since its inception in 2008. So we coordinate it out of our office, but it's held at Springwater Conservation Area. This is our 10th festival that'll be held in just a couple weeks. We've had over 11,000 students participate to date. And it's still incredibly popular. We added a 4th day this year just because of the interest in it. So we have 2,000 students attending, and we have a waiting list of over 1,000 students that couldn't get in this year. So the popularity is still as big as ever. So looking ahead, the common theme you'll see here is just fundraising. My department thrives and is relying upon fundraising. So everything we do is sort of based on grants and what direction that takes us. A key component of the program and our ability to sort of do some of the things like source water protection, outreach, and education in the last number of years is due to having the watershed resources technician support the program. So that position is entirely based on revenues that we can find, fee-for-service grants, that sort of thing. And the one new thing we are looking to do, we have a funding proposal out and are looking to support it, is to establish a Kettle Creek Conservation Youth Corps. That would be a group of local high school students that we basically get out and expose them to the work that we do in the Kettle Creek watershed. Things like tree planting, trail maintenance, environmental monitoring, invasive species removal. And it would also be a value add for them where they get some real life experience and can also claim it for their high school volunteer hours.
That's great. I really like that. We're in the midst actually at the city of setting up, it'll be adults on this one, but it's our environmental monitoring really a committee at the city, and this is coming out of the finally, you'll be impressed to know this Lake Margaret thing is finally coming to a transfer. So as part of that, we want to have a group in the city, but not just focused on that to be citywide, but we always get interest from youth. So I think that's a great way to get them involved as well. So I think that's fantastic. STEAM school might be a good connection, a good starting spot for that, for sure. Questions or comments from members? Marcel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Betsy, you'll be pleased to know that in our neck of the woods where you're doing some wildlife, establishing wildlife, the owner's just so thrilled. He called me to let me know that I had to come take a look. So thank you.
All right. So, any questions on these parts for the budget when they come up for next year? Good. It's nice to have this overview. Thank you, Jeff and Betsy, for both being here to kind of go over this. And we know that both of the programs that you're involved with are key to what we do here at the conservation area, and that getting that out to the public. And certainly we'll keep all of that in mind when we're doing budget this year. So thank you. Anything to add?
No, Madam Chair, just if we can receive reports.
Moved by Dave and Steve. All in favor? That's carried unanimously. Brings us up to section 28 permits. Joe.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The report was new advanced packages. 7 permits were issued since the last meeting. Nothing really to noteworthy. They were all dealing with existing developments, additions, reconstruction, or accessory structures, and then just dealing with one application with the municipality for an asphalt pathway along a subdivision which was in and around the floodplain area. So.
Anyone have any questions on the permits that were issued? Seeing none, can we get a motion to concur with those? Bill? Max? All in favor? It's carried unanimously. All right, with that, we'll entertain a motion to go on camera. We're just, this is flying through the agenda. Dave and Ralph, we move to our in-camera meeting. All in favor? That's carried.